Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 358 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I don't know what part of the country you're in, or maybe even the world, but here in Tennessee, it has been so hot and so stormy. We've had more trees down from storms and power out this summer than I've ever remembered. It's been such a wild ride the last 3 months. It's so unpredictable, and it's likely to continue for a while. And I have zero control of that. So I guess the best thing that I can do is just prepare for what I can, but also make the best of as much of it as I can as well. It's been an adventure. And at one point, we lost power. It was really a hot day, really hot and humid. And we lost it for over a day. So our room is upstairs, and it gets really hot upstairs. So we camped out downstairs with a battery-operated fan. It was sort of fun, like we were kids again. It could have been a miserable experience. But my husband is fun and he's creative, so that's how we ended up enjoying it the best way that we could. But that's how life is, though, isn't it? That's why it's so important to surround ourselves with people that we enjoy. It makes the not so fun times in life tolerable. I used to think I could fix people, and that if I hung around them or were their friend, I could change them. I could make them happy. I realized not quickly, but gradually that is just not the case. I mean, sometimes we really do have to make the decision to love someone from afar because it's important to protect our peace. We're important, and our peace is very important. When you're a peacemaker or an includer or someone who thinks it's their job for everyone to be happy, a lot of times you put yourself in a position that's uncomfortable because you can't say no or because you're so worried about putting someone else out. How many dinner dates have you had that you didn't want to have? How many events did you host that you didn't want to host? How many times have you said yes when you really meant no? How many times did you say, I don't care, when you really did care? Your opinion matters just as much as someone else's. I had a kind of a funny story this last week, and let me preface it with this. It is trivial. I know it is, but there's a deeper meaning to it. So my dear friend and I were planning to meet for lunch for the first time in a while. We haven't gotten to see each other much lately, but we both love getting together, and we want to do it as often as we can. So we finally planned a day and a time to meet. And then she said, okay, we've got the day and the time. You pick the place and I'll show up. So I'm talking to my husband, Eric, about where to go, and he's naming all these options, and I'm really struggling to make a decision because I'm worried that the restaurant that I choose may be too far, or maybe it's too loud, or the food isn't the things that she likes to eat. And Eric finally just said, look, Houston's is available for your lunchtime. Let's just see if it'll work. And I said, but what if it's too far? What if she doesn't like it? And then I just realized how ridiculous I was being, and I stopped and I said, you know what? I love Houston's. And so I'll just put it out there. And if she doesn't like it, we can easily find something else. And that's what I did. And she immediately said, that's wonderful. I'll see you there. So during our lunch, we were talking about life and different ways we were trying to improve. And she said, I'm so glad that you picked the restaurant because I was thinking about all the different places. And I know you eat a certain way, and there are a few of the restaurants that I like are kind of far out, and I was worried maybe they were too far for you, and I was really worried about making a suggestion that you wouldn't like. I just laughed so hard, and I said, oh my goodness, if it weren't for Eric, we would still be trying to make a decision of where to go to eat. Funny thing is, the place that she was going to suggest is one of my other favorite places. It would have been perfect, also. So we'll meet there the next time. But the point is, we were both just so nervous about the other person's preference that we couldn't make a decision to save our life. And both of us had really good options that the other one loved. What were we so afraid of? I know it may sound silly. We were putting unnecessary stress on ourselves over a really trivial thing. But I think we do that in lots of other areas of our life too. I was talking to one of my friends in the sauna, and she was telling me that she gets herself into situations all the time because she can't just seem to say no. She'll go places she doesn't want to go with people she doesn't want to go with, all in an effort to avoid saying no. She avoids the uncomfortable position of saying no by putting herself in an uncomfortable position. Does that sound familiar? I know I've done it, but as I've gotten older, I don't do it anymore. Now, it still isn't comfortable to say no. I don't love it, but I know that the immediate pain of saying no is much better than the pain of saying yes. Think about it. If you say no, it's uncomfortable for the moment. If you say yes when you don't want to, then you have to spend the time after saying yes, wishing you hadn't. Then you have to do the thing you said yes to, which let's say it's a week away. Now you dread doing it all week. And then when it comes time to do the thing you do, whether or not you're glad you did it or not, you created a lot of unnecessary pain. I've done it before, and my guess is you probably have too. Here's the thing though. I feel so empowered every time now that I say no, and I'm just okay with leaving it there. I don't feel the need to justify why I'm saying no. It's really empowering. I have friends that have in the past that really taught me that. They just said no without any explanation. And I have to admit, at first I was a bit taken aback because a lot of people don't do that. But at the same time, I was also sort of impressed. And did I think less of them for telling me no without a reason to back it up? Not at all. I actually respect them for having boundaries. And I feel good knowing that they're comfortable, knowing I don't need to be coddled. They don't feel the need to explain their no to me because they know I'm not going to be offended by it. When someone is easily offended, people will generally skate the truth around that person or even tell a little white lie, especially if they think what they have to say isn't what the easily offended person wants to hear. So that's a good thing to remember. If you're easily offended, people may skirt the truth with you so they don't offend you. In the movies, they'll often portray someone as weak by showing them always saying yes to everything to the point to where they're burning the candle at both ends, which causes them lots of discomfort, which in turn causes them to have a growth moment where they finally realize something has to change. And this is where they get something called gumption. And with gumption comes the ability to give your opinion. With gumption comes you unapologetically prioritize your needs. And with gumption comes the ability to say no and not have to explain yourself for it. My challenge to you this week is to find your gumption. If someone asks your opinion and you secretly have one, give it. Don't say you don't care. If someone asks you to do something and you really don't want to, simply thank them and say, I'm not available. Saying no will probably always be a little bit uncomfortable for some of us, but I would rather be uncomfortable saying no now than living with a yes that leaves me in dread for a week. You matter just as much as anyone else in this world. Never forget that. I love the quote from The Holiday that says, everyone should be the leading lady of their own life. And that's what gumption will get you. Share this with 3 people that have gumption. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.